What's up, NASCAR Authentics fans? David Land here, and we are taking a look at the final wave of 2016. This is Wave 11 of Lionel's NASCAR Authentics line. And first and foremost, I have to give a huge shout out and thank you to my good pal Robbie, aka Race Day 2011. Without him, these last two NASCAR Authentics reviews would not have happened because I have had no luck finding these cars. He's been able to find them, he's been able to buy them at the store, and then bring them to me so I can pay him back. But again, Robbie has been so kind to me, and by extension to you guys, the viewers. I really want you guys to go in the comments right now and write a comment saying, "Thank you, Race Day 2011," in the comments. I want to see how many comments we can get thanking Robbie for his support of me and support of this channel, because it's been absolutely wonderful what he's been able to do in finding these NASCAR Authentics. It's just been a big act of kindness by him. And again, go down there in the comments and thank him profusely because I think he deserves it. He's a great guy. And you should also go subscribe to him while you're at it if you haven't already. But yeah, and while you're down there, hit the like button too. That help me out a little bit too while you're thinking Rob. But anyway, this is Wave 11 of the Lionel NASCAR Authentics. A really good wave. I could consider this wave, the last Wave 10 was kind of like the cleanup wave for the throwbacks, and this one is kind of the cleanup wave for the raced winners segment of the 2016 NASCAR Authentics line. And obviously there's one that we're really excited about here on this channel, and it's the Larson Michigan winner. I'm really excited to get that one out of the box. Of course, you guys remember the last time there was a Kyle Larson car in a NASCAR Authentics review. My hands might have been shaky a little bit. I was so excited. So let's get into this. Wave 11, the final wave of 2016. Let's take a look at it. So the first car we're taking a look at is the reason Kyle Cat exists, Kyle Busch, in the Snickers Crisper number 18. Don't know what the heck a Snickers Crisper is. I'm guessing it's like a Crunch Bar, except for it's got peanuts in it, but that's just what I'm assuming. So let's take a look at this thing as the first car in the wave. Don't remember exactly when he raced it. I think this may have been a canceled diecast as well. Because I think I vaguely remember that from a NASCAR Diecast News episode. By the way, subscribe to that as well. That's my friend Brian. Of course, for the adult collector, as all these Mars brand items will be. But yeah, I think this may have been a canceled diecast. Not entirely 100% on that one, but I think it may have been. There's the entire Wave 11. I think the Aquafina car was also included in this wave, but obviously we didn't get it because of the actually that may have been Wave 9. I can't remember. The Aquafina car was in one of the waves, but I don't know. I don't remember. Somebody has already corrected me in the comments, so whatever. So let's get this thing out of its box and take a look at it. And the first car of Wave 11, actually we get a plastic hood with this one, which is nice, is maybe, there it is, a Toyota. So here it is, the Snickers Crisper car out of its box. Pretty interesting paint scheme. It's actually asymmetrical, so you can't say this side's same as the left, at least for this diecast. Pretty interesting paint scheme. I do like the light blue. I usually like that on race cars, so this is no exception. Obviously the Toyota bodies I think always look pretty good, even though they changed them for this year, so it means we're not going to get any Toyotas anytime soon in NASCAR Authentics for a while. But it's nice to get the old Toyota body style for at least a couple more times before they don't have any more Toyotas to produce. One of two Toyotas in this wave, so that's pretty nice as well. Obviously the other one's slightly more interesting than this one, considering the subject matter, or maybe perhaps the team matter of the driver and car combination. And there you go. That is the Snickers Crisper car. Let's take a look at the hood here, and you've got, of course, just Snickers Crisper. Very big on a very blue background, and just NASCAR Authentics on the back. Sometimes they put extra logos on there, but just NASCAR Authentics. But it is the plastic hood, so no magnet or anything. You just get a plastic hood. So let's take a closer look at this car. I'm actually quite interested. Let's start from the front here. So I'm kind of interested in what this is. It's like the Snickers logo, just like huge for some reason. I guess this is supposed to be like a candy bar wrapper, like kind of blown up or something. I don't know what's going on there. I will say this is a very sharp paint scheme. It looks really nice in person. And then you've got some crispy satisfaction there on the side skirts, and just a little bit of subtle blue, lighter blue, to give it a little bit of texture for some reason. Obviously, because we just can't have a bright blue car, you've got to add more shades of blue to make it complicated for some reason, because that's where we are with modern paint schemes these days. But aside from that, I think it's a very nice looking car. Yeah, this definitely is asymmetrical, because you go over here, you've got all these logos all over the place, including Interstate Batteries. No, Interstate Batteries is still there. So what's the... it just looks like the Crisper's bigger on this. Snickers is bigger on this side. Also, there's only one crispy satisfaction on the left side of the right side of the car, and the left side has two of those logos. Don't know if that's an error or if that's how the car was in real life, but that's another one for the comments to decide. But definitely, you've definitely got the blue, very blue side here, and a slightly brown side on this one. Actually, I like this one. It's a pretty nice looking car. A lot of the Kyle Busch cars are, though, as I will soon demonstrate. Because in NASCAR Authentics, we've gotten a few other Kyle Busches over the time, and these are his 2016 paint schemes. Of course, you got the Indy winner. Well, not technically the Indy winner, but it might as well be the Indy winner. Skittles car. You got the Snickers Crisper car, and the generic M&M's car. So you got all your candies there represented in 2016 NASCAR Authentics. So let's move on to the next car in the wave. So let's check out the car in the wave that is perhaps the most random, really random. There's a lot of things to go over in this car. It's the number 24 ever, or hashtag 24 ever, or something like that. And the box says it's a Chase Elliott car, but as you'll see in just a second, it's also a Jeff Gordon car. Obviously, it's meant to commemorate the transition between Jeff Gordon and Chase Elliott in the iconic number 24 Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. However, that happened now over a year ago. So what we have now is a very weird paint scheme included in NASCAR Authentics, completely a fantasy car that represents two drivers, and again, a transition that happened over a year ago. So, I don't know. This one's a weird choice in my book for a car to use for this wave. Maybe there was a slot available that they could have put something else in, but who knows? Maybe it will win me over. There's the card that comes with it. And here comes, eventually, the 24 ever Jeff Gordon Chase Elliott car. So this car is a combination paint scheme of three cars that were previously available in Lionel's NASCAR Authentics. You've got the Exalta Bristol throwback, which was the Rainbow Warriors car for Jeff Gordon. Then you've got Jeff Gordon's final ride car, which he ran in the Homestead Chase race when he competed for a Chase championship. And then you've got Chase Elliott. Wow, I'm saying Chase a lot. Chase Elliott's Napa number 24 2016 car. So when you look at it this way, you can see all of the inspiration for this car as they designed it. So let's move those cars out of the way and move in for a close-up on the 24 ever car. Now this is not even an exclusive to the Lionel NASCAR Authentics. This was also available in the Gold Series. I think it was available both in 164 and 124. So it's not, I mean, this would be kind of acceptable if it were a unique release, but it's not a unique release. So I have a very hard time being favorable to its inclusion because of the fact that the rest of the wave is more or less so strong with different cars. This one, I don't know. I guess maybe I don't know if this one's sold out in the Gold Series or not, if it's becoming hard to find. Because if it is, that's a reasonable enough choice on Lionel's part to include it in NASCAR Authentics. But at the same time, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, we're still getting Jeff Gordon stuff. I mean, several other drivers have retired in that point, or just are out of the sport. I guess some people will get triggered if I say some drivers, namely Carl Edwards and Greg Biffle, are retired, but they're more or less out of the sport. So, you know, I don't think we'll be seeing many tribute cars to Greg Biffle. How about I put it that way? So we zoom out just a little bit to take a look at the card, which may be the most interesting inclusion in this whole pack, to be honest with you. You've got the interesting design choice back here, which mimics the car. You've got the hashtag 24ever. I'm surprised they didn't put Jeff Gordon Raceway on the back there. And then you've got the Jeff Gordon and Chase Elliott stats for this year and last year, I think. Well, it's not even complete for last year. It's got, I think, because he started, like, what, 3 races for 2015 in the 25 car? So, yeah, those aren't even complete 2016 stats. I mean, they probably couldn't do it considering the time restraints for this wave. But that's a bit, I don't know about that. The card design is very nice. I will say this, the card, in terms of like a trading card, very nice. I actually like that quite a bit. So let's go in for a close-up on this one. Just take a look at it. Now, you will notice that the Rainbow Warrior red is not nearly as fluorescent as it is on the Exalta Tribute car. Now, why I think that is as TV cameras got a little bit better throughout the day, they didn't need to go so fluorescent on the red here to actually make it red. The reason race cars used to have fluorescent colors all over them, like the Menard team or the Marlboro cars or STP, was because TV cameras usually had a pretty poor saturation level. So when you would watch a TV, it would be a lot less dark and the colors would be a lot more dimmed when you're watching on an old tube television. So what would happen is this color here, which is bright orange to the naked eye, on an old TV would turn red and actually give you the desired color. Now, as time marched on, the TV cameras would be able to actually pick up that this is actually fluorescent orange and not red. So I think this may be a later paint scheme in Jeff Gordon's run that they're maybe mimicking here, where they actually started using red once again to actually mimic the actual color they're going for, but who knows. And then you've got the Flame logos. Obviously, that's a big-time tribute to the Exalta or mid to late DuPont days and the start of the Exalta days. And then you've got Chase Elliott's paint scheme here, which I think is actually a little bit different than the car they released in NASCAR Authentics. Yes, Sun Energy 1. I knew there was some difference. So the Sun Energy 1 logo is back there. But everything else is more or less the same to the last NASCAR Authentics release of this car. So not a terrible amount to go over. I would be interested in the comments if you guys are planning to pick this up. If you are still a Jeff Gordon fan or a Chase Elliott fan and don't have this car, go ahead and let me know in the comments. So let's move on to the next car in the wave. So the next car we are taking a look at is actually a car I saw race in person. This is Martin Truex Jr.'s Auto Owners Insurance, number 78. Now, a lot of people, myself included, mistook this car originally as the Darlington car. I almost called it a throwback car. It wasn't really a throwback car. The car that won the Darlington race. But I was corrected that this actually is the Brickyard 400 paint scheme. Now, the reason we confuse that is because virtually the paint schemes are almost identical because it is the exact same sponsor, Auto Owners Insurance. Same blue, same dark blue, light blue, white color scheme. But the difference is very subtle, and I think it may have been the only time it actually ran. So what's weird about this is the fact that this car may have only run once and is in the Lionel Authentics. Now, I'm not going to complain about that because of the fact that I saw it race. I do think, I mean, I can remember slightly this. I definitely remember this car because it was up at the front. It may have been in the first 2 rows of that race. I'll have to look over my footage at one of these days and see exactly where it was for most of the race. But it finished near the front, I think, or maybe it was caught up in one of the late accidents. I honestly can't remember. It was so hot there, and the race was, let's face it, pretty boring. That honestly, I can't remember much more than the fact that they ran like 15 green-white checkers at the end. They red flagged it, and then Kyle Busch won anyway. So the result they were trying to get didn't actually happen. But we have a nice tribute to that race. So continuing the theme of blue Toyotas, we've got the 78 Auto Owners Insurance Martin Truex Jr. Furniture Row racing car. Of course, again, this car raced at Indianapolis, so I have a personal connection to it as I saw it race, though it was not very successful, and frankly, any car that wasn't Kyle Busch was not very successful on that day. Though, again, it ran up at the front. But again, the front was fairly spread out and running through lapped cars most of the time. Not many sponsors on this car, as is usually the case with the number 78 car. They're pretty light on contingencies. They don't put hardly any on their cars, and frankly, there aren't many contingencies left to actually put on race cars, or at least for NASCAR these days. So let's zoom out here, take a look at the Auto Owners Insurance hood, plastic hood, nothing on the back, but again, it's nice to get the plastic hood versus the magnet hood. It does feel like it's a little something more, but of course some people like the magnets because they stick them on things. It would be interesting to see how powerful the magnets are. I doubt they're very powerful. Maybe that's a test for Diecast Reviews to do one of these days on his Instagram. But you got the Auto Owners Insurance. I do actually like the paint scheme quite a bit. I've always liked light blue cars. I think I said that in the Snickers Crisper review. But the light blue and white, I think that really does work quite well on race cars. It looks very nice, and once again, we've got another Toyota that's got the this style of paint scheme with light blue and white. It does look very nice. But again, there's not a whole lot to talk about this car because there's just not much going on. It's just a well put together diecast. Very nice looking. I would be interested to, I mean, obviously there's some Truex fans out there, so obviously there's going to be a lot of people who are looking to pick this up. I also am kind of interested in Auto Owners Insurance. I'm not familiar with it, so like exactly where is it located exactly? Because I'm used to like State Farm and whatnot, so it's weird being from Indiana and not hearing of a sponsor that's sponsoring a race in Indiana. That's a little bit weird to me. But anyway, this is the Auto Owners, boy, that's easy for me to say, Auto Owners Insurance number 78. Let's move on to the next car in the wave. So one of the cars that was an absolutely fantastic addition to this wave is the number 23 Shiners Hospital for Children BK Racing David Ragan car. This car raced at the night race for Daytona. That's why you see the, or will see, I don't know if you can quite see it right now, you'll see the patriotic roof banner on this car. What is interesting is that the reason I know that is not the fact that this car did particularly well in that race, but the fact that this car was free DLC in NASCAR Heat Evolution, and then that car will appear at the night race at Daytona when you race against the AI. But this is a very nice car. It's the first BK car that I've gotten personally, in the Lionel NASCAR Authentics, of course. They were included, 2 of those cars, in Wave number 9, but I have not gotten those cars from Wave 9 yet, and hence why you haven't seen a review. But you've probably already commented that and left the video by now, so whatever. But this is a very nice paint scheme. It may be one of my favorite diecasts in the entire Wave, so let's get this thing out and take a look at it. Obviously, this car usually primary sponsor is Dr. Pepper. I do like me some Dr. Pepper every now and then, so you gotta love it. Let's get this car out of its box. There you go. There is the hood scoop. Hood scoop. What am I talking about? These are an NHRA Authentics. By the way, we need to get more of those. But the Shriners Hospital for Children David Ragan car. So here it is, the Shriners Hospital for Children number 23. I can't remember if this car was a Gold Series release or not. I personally can't remember seeing anybody review it, and I can't remember seeing it on the diecast news. So if it was a pretty low-key release, because I can't remember if it got out. But it's very nice to get it in NASCAR Authentics, because I'm always a big proponent of these small teams. I love getting them, and I've said it in the past, kind of a famous quote at this point is, you always need teams to fill out the back of your stop motion grid if you are one of those people who does stop motion NASCAR races. And it's always good to get the BK Racings, the Go Fast Racings of the world, because those cars are very important to producing what feels like a realistic NASCAR race, or even if you're just playing, playing with your diecast. I know that some of the older people don't, but some of the younger people, yeah, it's important to have back markers too. So it's always nice to have these cars, always nice to get them, and like I said, it's always a great thing. So here's the hood, and the hood does have this kind of paint on it that shines, and I can report that you are going to get some sparklies on your fingers because that sparkly paint does rub off a little bit. So if you're handling this a lot, this plastic hood, you are going to get some of those sparklies on there, and they're going to think you've been like kissing a girl or something. Ugh. Oh God. But anyway, Shriners Hospital for Children, love to the rescue. David Ragan, 23. Not sure what this is, like the Grand Poobah or something, I don't know. I'm sure this is like a very prestigious charity. Again, I don't know the Shriners Hospital for Children as well. I wonder if it's like St. Jude or whatever. But obviously, it's probably children's hospitals usually are pretty saintly and do good work. So it's always good to get a little bit of their promotion out there. And honestly, it's probably, the cynical side of me says it's probably a tax write-off for the teams to have sponsorship by hospitals, but whatever. You got the Shriners Hospitals for the Children, love to the rescue. And you've got Good Luck David from Tony. I'm not sure who that is. It may be the child who designed the car. Oh, there we go. Created by Haley. So Haley designed this car. Congratulations to Haley. You got a race car to make. So that's actually pretty cool. When they let the terminally ill children, or just ill children in general, design a car, it's always cool when they get to be able to do that and see their artwork on a racetrack. So I'm not going to be terribly critical of this design, by the way, now. So yeah, you kind of get like, it's kind of like a paper. It's not a completely white car. It's slightly off-white, kind of closer to gray than it is bright white. But you have those sparkles all over the car and just very subtle pink ribbons around the car. And then you get the healing power of love. So, and there you go. There's your patriotic name rail banner. A little bit of blue on the number as an outline. Actually looks pretty nice, I would say. But yeah, the hearts. It's a very lovely car. How about that? To get a pun in there. It's a good car to get. Very happy. So let's move on to the next car in the wave, and we're gonna start talking about these race twins. I can't wait. So this one is a very appropriate release by Lionel. This is Tony Stewart's Code 3 Associates Sonoma Raceway Toyota Save Mart 350 race win, which would turn out to be Tony Stewart's final win in the NASCAR what is now known as the Monster Energy Series, but back then it was the Sprint Cup Series. It was an absolutely fantastic race between Tony Stewart and Denny Hamlin, and very exciting for a lot of folks to get this win. It propelled him into the chase, got them all. Really just a good situation all the way around. So I have to commend Lionel for putting this car into the wave, despite the fact that most of the people who have this already got it when it was released in the Gold Series, but nonetheless, I think a lot of people are going to want it, maybe just for that card right there, which has the race stats, which will be fun to read. We've gotten Code 3 Associates cars before from Spin Master, but this is, I believe, the first one from Lionel. Checking through my archive, I did not see any from Lionel that had been released, so here it is, the Code 3 Associates number 14. So here it is out of its box, the Code 3 Associates Mobile 1 car for Tony Stewart. Now obviously, as this is a raced version, we're going to have a lot to go over in the close-up segment, but we're going to quickly go over the 360-degree turn here for this car. Obviously, again, it was a fantastic race between Tony Stewart and Denny Hamlin. Went right down to the wire, last corner, last lap. You can't ask for much better than that in terms of a race. And what's kind of funny about the race version is the fact that, generally speaking, raced versions for road course races in NASCAR these days are more beat up than the raced versions for short track races. I don't know what that says about NASCAR, or maybe just the fact that road racing has become so competitive in the last few years, particular. Well, across really most series, except for maybe Formula One, but particularly so in NASCAR, as the skill level on the road courses for the stock car drivers has increased so much that road course ringers, like back in the day with Tommy Kendall and Robbie Gordon, people like that, can't just jump in and steal wins. So let's take a look at the card. Obviously, Tony Stewart, is that photoshopped in there? That looks awful photoshopped. But anyway, he's got a diecast there. I'm not sure if it's absolutely 100% there or not, but whatever. Sonoma Raceway Toyota 350 with the June 26, 2016. Was it really that long ago? Doesn't seem like it. Sonoma Raceway. The date, the time of the race was 2 hours and 42 minutes, 13 seconds. Goodness gracious, that's a long race. Starting position was 10th. The total laps were 110, 218 miles. The number of cautions were 4 for 10 laps, and the number of leaders was 8. Laps led by Tony Stewart was 22. The margin of victory was only 0.6 of a second, and the driver's career win was his 49th career win and final. Did not get to the 50, Tony Stewart, but still a fantastic career. 49 wins in 15 years, I think he ran Sprint Cup. That's pretty good. Obviously, here is the main damage. Obviously, the damage that won him the race. There we go. Actually, quite nice in terms of an eye trick there, pretending that this car is beaten up right there. Very nice looking. Obviously, that's a tire mark from Hamlin. You've got a little bit of dinging and dents up there. You got a little bit of tape on the... It's not even on the grill. Why is there tape there? I don't know. In fact, there's tape on both sides. What the heck? I didn't know there was any intakes or anything there. That's kind of weird. But we'll move around the car. You've got the scrape on the wall there, where the body juts out just a little bit, where he slapped the wall with the rear end of the car. A little bit more there as well. That's another tire mark. That may have been from Hamlin, may not have been from Hamlin. In fact, let's see. Let's get a Toyota and see if that lines up. Yeah, it absolutely lines up. So, yeah, that other tire mark is definitely from Hamlin as well. So, yeah, lots of Hamlin marks on this car. Nothing really on the bumper. He didn't get hit in the rear too much, did he? That's always good. I guess. Oh, there's quite a bit of damage on the rear quarter panel there, and you've got the scoring from the exhaust. Obviously, a lot of exhaust flame on a road course. Got a little bit of stuff here on the 14, a little bit of a scrape. Somebody got into him at some point. Obviously, the splitter or the side skirt just destroyed, probably from hitting curbs the whole day. Lots of dinging and dents and rubber buildup all down this front quarter panel there. And then you've got pretty much nothing on the top of the car. In fact, you know what? This is actually a raced version. There's no confetti or anything on this. See, okay, now this is one of my favorite race versions now because there's no confetti on it. You know, that's the thing. We're going to get to me talking about confetti later on in this video. Oh, wait. Is that confetti? Boy, if that's confetti, that's amazing detail because that's just one little bit there. I don't know if that's actually confetti or if that's just a mistake, but whatever. But yeah, well, we'll just consider it's an actual raced version and not a victory lane version. This is a fantastic car. I hope you'll be picking it up because you're not going to be able to buy many more Tony Stewart race winners, though you may be able to buy more Tony Stewart cars knowing Lionel, considering we had a Jeff freaking Gordon car in this wave for some reason. So let's move on to the next car in the wave, and a car that's very appropriate and also a car that's a first-timer in Lionel Authentics. So here's a car I would describe as being very, very overdue in NASCAR Authentics, at least from Lionel. This is our first Xfinity Series diecast, and it is Chase Elliott's Power Shares 300 at Daytona winner, which is appropriate, of course, because this weekend is the 1-year anniversary of this race, and of course the Daytona 500 as well. But obviously the Xfinity race was won by Chase Elliott, and absolutely another fantastic finish. The race that kind of got overshadowed by the fact that the Daytona 500 was so good. This finish was pretty good too. It was a beating and banging show between Elliott and Logano coming to the line, and it was Chase Elliott who would take home that victory. So a very appropriate diecast, a good one to get, and again, Xfinity cars for the very first time in Lionel NASCAR Authentics. You gotta love it. This is a great choice, another great choice, I would say, by Lionel. And let's take a look at this bad boy. I'm very excited to finally get an Xfinity car. Maybe someday we'll get trucks, who knows? But of course, they'll need a 164 truck mold to do that. So there's the card. And here comes the diecast. So here it is, the Chevrolet Camaro Xfinity car for Chase Elliott, the TaxSlayer.com number 88. Of course, that's a competitor to TaxAct, which Danica Patrick is always a sponsor, or always has a sponsor. Don't think I've seen many TaxSlayer cars this year. Not sure what the sponsorship is looking like for this year's Xfinity race. Not sure if TaxSlayer will be back or not. They were not on Dale Jr.'s car for the Clash, or the Unlimited, or whatever they want to call it now. But I think they were last year, and the reason I bring that up is because of a diecast I'm going to show you a little bit later on in the review. But of course, this is a race version, but it is a plate car, so there's only one real significant bit of raced version on it, and you may already be able to quite see that very well. But again, for an Xfinity car, for an Xfinity plate car as well, we got quite a diecast here. And I'm really crossing my fingers here. We are getting another Xfinity car in Wave 2 of 2017 with Bubba Wallace and his throwback, which was actually a DNP'd car. But I'm hoping we get some more Xfinity drivers. Obviously, Bubba's a really good choice to start out with. Hoping we get some more, like Coleslaw Custard. That'd be great. But let's take a look at the card here. You got Chase Elliott for the Power Shares QQQ 300. Forgot how stupid that name was. At Daytona on February 20th, which is ironic. This is actually the exact 1-year anniversary of this race, the day I'm recording this, which is kind of hilarious. So you'll see the upload date as February 20th, 2017. This is February 20th, 2016. So exactly 1 year ago today, this car was winning that race. In fact, maybe just about right this time. I'm recording it at, what, 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon? So, yeah, this car was literally winning this race at the exact time I was recording this. You can't script that any better, folks. Believe me, NASCAR has tried. The start position was 19th. Not a very good starting position. The total laps was 124, 300 miles. The cautions were 4 for 17. The leaders were 19 leaders. Goodness gracious, that was a competitive race. Laps led by the winner, Chase Elliott, was 43. The margin of victory was only 400ths of a second, and it was his 5th NASCAR Xfinity Series win. Wow, you only win 4 races and you get to Cup? Man, Rick Hendrick must be very high on you, Mr. Elliott. Hope you deliver this year. Of course, he did deliver, once again, another Daytona 500 pole. And I have to say, the fact that he won the pole this year does not seem quite as rigged as it did last year. Yeah, maybe he broke the script. Who knows? But look at this. You get a little bit of raised version there on the outside of the tire. That's just about it on this side. It is nice that we got the sparkly paint. They must have had it in their budget because we've got 2 sparkly cars in this wave. So they did do sparkly numbers. I'm guessing that's how it was in real life. In fact, they did the stripes sparkly as well. This is a premium diecast, folks. I do like that. Good job, Lionel. Props here. You give us our first Xfinity car, you do it right. The armor logo's running off the back of the car just a little bit. Little bit of damage to the rear end of the car. Obviously, this is where we're going to get into where it was smashed. Oh yes, Mr. Logano's been there for sure. Quite a damage there. And actually, it's a really good effect to give the car that feel that it actually got smashed up on the final lap of the race. And brought home Chase Elliott a victory. I'm interested in what this sponsor is. Fire Alarm Services. That's the diecast that never gets made either. The fire alarm car for, I think it was Busch one year that ran that car and got canceled. I don't know. Junior Motorsports, not technically Hendrick Motorsports, but this is pretty much a Hendrick Motorsports car. It would be interesting to someday see Dale Jr. expand his racing operation, but we may never see that. Speaking of Dale Jr., you may have recognized that paint scheme because, of course, we did get another Tax Slayer car earlier this year. It was the Sprint Cup version of it for Mr. Earnhardt Jr., the aforementioned driver. And there you go. There's the 2 Tax Slayer cars together. Not too much else to say about this aside from the fact that go out and buy yourself that Chase Elliott car because I think it is an absolutely fantastic diecast that Lionel produced. And let's move on to the final car in the wave and one I'm entirely biased on, the Kyle Larson number 42. So the final car in wave number 11, the final wave of 2016, is Kyle Larson's number 42 Target Michigan winner, the first time he's breakthrough win. Kyle Larson, after a very long wait to get his first win, finally broke through at Michigan, beating Chase Elliott to the line. This car is the second Target car we have gotten in the retail line in quite a long time. The last one was in 2015 when Spin Master produced Kyle Larson's regular paint scheme. Obviously, this is a race winner, so it's a little bit different. Obviously, the paint scheme has also changed a little bit from 2015 through the years, but this is a long overdue car for the retail line, and it's great to finally get a Kyle Larson. We had to just have him get a win first. Now, something I need to point out, what in the world is going on with that, the font? What is going on with the font? Very weird, very weird. Like none of the other, in fact, this is the only special font I think I've ever seen for a Lionel NASCAR Authentics car. They've all used that same style, but this one has not. Very weird. Very weird. So let's get this thing out of its box. I'm very excited for it because I was very excited for that car right there when it came out. So let's get it out. Take a look at it. Ooh, that was quick. It wants to be with me. It wants to be with me. So Kyle Larson's Michigan Speedway winner. Oh man, I'm excited for this one. You never forget your first one, but this is the second Kyle Larson car we've gotten in what is now called the NASCAR Authentics line, and it is a beautiful diecast because, of course, it was Kyle Larson's first victory in the NASCAR, what is now known as the Monster Energy Series. So it is a very nice car. In fact, it's probably got the best gradient, and what I mean by gradient is the white transitioning to the red that I've seen on any of these Lionel releases. In fact, I've got a Gold Series car over there that has a pretty bad gradient that was given to me, ironically enough, by Race Day 2011 for Christmas. But yeah, this gradient is much better, much more realistic, much closer to the actual diecast or the actual car that raced in the 2016 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Obviously, you can see a lot of damage from when Kyle Larson burned it down after he won the race and promptly blew out the rear tires doing it. I have not picked up the 1/24 scale version of this car yet. My friend Buddy seems to think that it's going to sell out or already has sold out, and if that is the case, I'll just have to pick it up on the secondary market. Generally with diecast, you can wait, and they will go down in price eventually. So I will eventually pull that 1/24 scale car into my collection to commemorate Kyle Larson, who is my favorite NASCAR driver's first win. Target Chip Ganassi Racing, you won't be seeing that very much longer. I would imagine this is the last season for Target in NASCAR. They've already reduced their sponsorship. There's the Kyle Larson logo, which is actually the same as on the box. Michigan International Speedway Pure Michigan 400 winner, Brooklyn, Michigan, August 28th, 2016. And there is Mr. Kyle in his Target fire suit. On the back, the date, which we just read. The time of the race, 2 hours, 27 minutes, and 29 seconds. Starting position was 12th. Total laps were 200. Number of cautions was 4 for 17. Leaders, 13. Laps led by the winner, 41. Margin of victory was 1.5 seconds, more or less, over Chase Elliott. And it was his very first Sprint Cup or Monster Energy Series victory. So, the close-up on the raced parts, obviously there's confetti all over this car, and I have to say I'm not a big fan of the confetti. Ultimately, if you're going to call it a raced win, it should be a raced win and not a victory lane car. This is a victory lane car to me, not a race version. So I wish it was a victory lane car, or a raced version, but Lionel chose to do the victory lane version of it, so whatever, that's what we get. In fact, not sure if this is a raced part or not, but it sure does look like the white paint is a little bit darkened by brake dust. That would be cool if that were the case, but I doubt it is. Don't know why they put the Goodyear Eagles on the rear tires. Those really should just be straight black. That may be a licensing issue. They can't just put black tires on the rear and just Goodyears on the front, but whatever. It would look more accurate. Obviously, crest got destroyed. This is actually supposed to show that there's not much of the rear fender left there, but obviously they can't just mold a new die. I mean, I suppose they could, but it would be cost prohibitive to do so. You got Spot the Target Dog, if we can, or Bullseye the Target Dog, not Spot the Target Dog. Good Lord. There we go. There's in the focus. And there is Bullseye there, hanging out on the back of the Energizer, or on the back of the Target car. We move around to this side of the car, and you've got more damage, and that poor crest logo. Didn't get much airtime after Kyle blew the rear tires off the thing. Got some blue confetti, lots of dirt and debris on this side of the car. Of course, this is the side that Kyle Larson always seems to use right next to the wall, so you're going to get a lot of that clag, as David Hobbs would say, all over the car. All that rubber buildup near the wall gets all over that side of the car as he runs that patented high line. So the front of the car, just a little bit of confetti, and actually that's a pretty good 3D effect there with that little bit of confetti hanging down on the front of the car. And on the top, you've just got confetti all over the Target logo, all over the top of the car, all the way down the 42, and covering up over the Coke logo. So I have to say, very nice looking car. Very, very happy to have this one. It's been a long overdue time to get a Kyle Larson car in NASCAR Authentics once again. I hope we don't have to wait another 2 years to get one, but would not surprise me if they make us wait another 2 years. So let's move in on the entire wave altogether, and I will give some final thoughts. So there it is, wave number 11, the final wave of 2016's Lionel NASCAR Authentics. It's been a wild year for Lionel Authentics when they took over from Spin Master at the end of 2015. There's been some ups, some downs, and this wave is probably a good example of that. There's some absolutely home run cars in this wave, and there's some ones that maybe could have been switched out for other cars that maybe should have gotten priority. So in terms of 2016, I'd say this is probably the third or fourth best wave. It's certainly not the best, but also probably not the worst. Let me know what your ranking is of all the waves in NASCAR Authentics for the year down in the comments below. It'll be interesting to read what the general consensus of the best waves and the worst waves are. But I think this is a pretty good wave. Obviously the standout car for me, being a Larson fanboy, is that one, but it's also great that we have gotten Xfinity cars and a BK racing car as well, though it's the third one overall in terms of the grand scheme of NASCAR Authentics. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been David Land on YouTube. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button on it. It helps me out a lot. And if you enjoy NASCAR Authentics content, be sure to subscribe for more of it. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been David Land on YouTube, and we'll see you in the next video.